Hey, greetings everyone. GleeCon, and I'm here again. And so are you. With another episode of Lore of Warcraft before you, we are going to be finishing a project today. The War of the Scaleborn. On the last episode, we also finished a project. We finished the classic zone, the wetlands, as Maleficent our mage, and I've been working on the next big chunk of classic that we have, and I'll fill you guys in on the next episode. I won't waste too much of our time on that right now. On this book that we've been reading, on the last chapter, Neltharion unleashed the evil and used it to capture Iridicron, and it kind of alludes to why there's this kind of shadow element in Dragonflight, why they tap into that power, because half of them, Razagath and Iridicron, saw how powerful it could be. So now we're going to wrap the book up in an epilogue sort of fashion, but there's no true epilogue in this book. They're just calling it Chapter 28. So stay a while and listen. Alexstrasza and the other aspects found Neltharion in the lightless depths of Iridicron's keep, surrounded by shadows. The Earth Warder sat on a platform beside the unconscious incarnate, his head bowed. He did not look up as the Dragon Queen alighted on the central platform. She ensconced Neltharion in warm ruby light, pushing the shadows away from him. Iridicron lay prone on the floor, still breathing, but otherwise still as stone. Neither dragon appeared injured, at least not physically. "Neltharion," she asked softly, approaching with caution as the other aspects moved to secure the prisoner. "Are you all right?" The black aspect shuddered. When he lifted his gaze to Alexstrasza's, the Dragon Queen flinched. Yes, the Earth Warder appeared to be physically hale, but she sensed something broken in him. Stress fractures reached long, spidery fingers into his heart, and Alexstrasza had not the power to peer into their depths. What horrors could have cracked the heart of the Broodland's most stalwart defender? What terrors could make even the Earth Warder tremble? Alexstrasza felt Neltharion's pain as her own, an ache that might be as cavernous and yawning as Harrow's Deep itself. She sat beside him, giving him a gentle nudge with her shoulder. After a long moment, the Earth Warder released a deep sigh and leaned into her side. "I wish you had not come here alone," Alexstrasza said, supporting his weight. Tremors racked Neltharion's muscles, held back by his iron will. "We would have walked into the depths with you." "I know," Neltharion said, swallowing hard when his voice trembled. When he spoke again, he was steadier. "When the keep's tunnels shifted, I knew I could ill afford to search for you. The best thing I could do was press on." "You've done admirably, Neltharion," Alexstrasza said softly. The black aspect's spine stiffened at the praise. "After all these long years, the war is over. Our flights will know peace." Neltharion closed his eyes. Heartbeats passed before he spoke again. "It is over," he said, releasing a long, shuddering breath. "It is over." In the weeks following the Battle of Harrow's Deep, Alexstrasza mourned with her flights. The aspects had won the war but lost so much. Thousands of lives had been snuffed out, and the Broodlands and the Dragon Wilds bore the scars of war. The collective pain of the dragons echoed through the skies, inescapable, omnipresent. It haunted Alexstrasza's every step and chased her into her dreams. To alleviate the suffering, the Dragon Queen visited the wounded and lifted their spirits. She helped Ysera soothe their lands, coaxed the gardens back to life around Valdrakken, and played with whelps at the ruby life pools. No more eggs would be taken from the nests of primal dragons. This she swore. Still, the shadow of her flight's trauma never left her, not truly, nor did the specter of all the mistakes she had made. Perhaps they had been mistakes made with the best of intentions, but she had caused harm when she meant to help, and had broken a promise to a friend. No, Alexstrasza hadn't just broken a promise to Viranoth, she had turned her back on the Incarnate. She had allowed their friendship to wither into apathy, and later to freeze into hatred. Alexstrasza would not make the same mistake again. So the Dragon Queen invited Cezannes and his followers to Wormrest Temple, where the dragons discussed the terms of peace. For their war crimes, the incarnates would remain imprisoned. All hostilities between Ordered and Primal Dragon would cease, and no Primal Dragon would raise wing or talon against the Broodlands again. Now leaderless, most of the Primalists had already scattered to the winds. In return, Alexstrasza swore to withdraw from the Dragon Wilds and grant those territories to the Primal Dragons in perpetuity. Furthermore, no Primal Dragon eggs would be taken from their rightful nests ever again. This was an oath that every aspect swore, not just Alexstrasza. Fair enough. In addition, Sazans asked the Dragon Queen to pardon Talonstrasz and his comrades. Though the other aspects balked at this request, particularly Neltharion, Alexstrasza granted the pardons, allowing Talonstrasz, Saragossa, and the other defectors to fly free. At the end of their parley, Sazans asked for a moment alone with the Dragon Queen. They met on one of the high terraces, which gave them a breathtaking view of the wild, untamed beauty of northern Kalimdor. The sun shone bright in the skies, making the fresh snow glitter.
"I trust this will be the last time we see each other,"
the hoary dragon said, extending a small object to Alexstrasza.
"So, I wanted to return something to you."
Alexstrasza looked down. There in Sazans' talons was the dragon figurine Alexstrasza had given Viranoth so many years ago. The unmelting ice caught the light, beautiful and multidimensional. The gold-filled cracks gleamed, adding depth to the ice. Alexstrasza pressed her lips together, blinking fast. She hadn't expected to see the figurine again.
"I believe one can find beauty in broken things,"
Sazan said, setting the figurine down between them. As he stepped back, he said,
"I hope you will remember her, Dragon Queen, and that every time you gaze upon this artifact, you will commit yourself to keeping the promise you once made to her and the one you have now made to me."
"I will. I swear it," Alexstrasza said, cradling the figurine in her talons. "Thank you, Sazans." The old dragon dipped his head once.
"Be wisely, Alexstrasza. I do not wish to see a warlight of this like again."
"Nor do I," Alexstrasza said, her throat tight. In the days after the parley, Alexstrasza flew to every corner of the Broodlands, seeking the dragons hatched from stolen eggs. While many dragons were content with their ordering, more than a few were not, and Alexstrasza listened to them all, offering each a sincere apology and a boon from the Dragon Queen herself. Under Sindragossa's watchful eye, Saragossa received a private study in the Azure Archives, where the Blue was content to spend her days with her snout buried in a book. The twins, Rabia and Obezion, demurred at first, but their eyes lit up when Neltharion promised to take them under his wing. Nullis Dormu traveled the timeways with the Bronze Dragonflight's best. A Tyrannus wanted to become a guardian of the dream, and Rygos asked for access to the restricted sections of the archives. The request drew a weighty sigh from Malagos. The young Blue was known for his mischief, but the aspect granted it nonetheless. Only one request broke Alexstrasza's heart. "I want to see my brother once more," Alexstrasza said. "I must say goodbye." So on a clear day, the Dragon Queen flew with Leylastraza to the Frozen Fangs. As the Dragon Queen alighted outside Viranoth's old eyrie, she could still smell her friend's scent on the air. Viranoth's magic imbued the ice underfoot, though its chill lacked its former cruelty or malice. Everywhere Alexstrasza looked, she saw Viranoth. From the snow trailing off the mountain peaks to the glacier that carved the valley below, the Frozen Heart's power infused every talon's length of this place. Alexstrasza's grief swelled, for her friend's spirit still lived on in this place, even if she would never fly through its peaks again. "Talon?" Leylastraza called, landing beside the Dragon Queen. The young Red took a tentative step toward the airie's cavernous entrance. "Brother, are you there?" When no one answered, the young Red looked back at Alexstrasza. The Dragon Queen nodded to Leylastraza. Not only had she confirmed that Talonstrasz still called Viranoth's eyrie home, but she had sent a messenger to inform him of their impending visit. Leylastraza turned back to the cavern. "Talon, if you don't wish to see me, I understand," she called loudly enough for her voice to carry. "I only wanted to tell you that no matter what has transpired between us, you will always be my clutch brother. In time, I hope we can be siblings once more." Nothing stirred. They waited for several long, heart-rending minutes. When no one answered, Leylastraza's shoulders slumped. As she returned to the Dragon Queen, Alexstrasza prepared to say something to lift the young Red's spirits, perhaps a race back to the Ruby Life Pools or a favorite meal, but someone said, "Wait." Leylastraza halted. Alexstrasza lifted her head, relieved to see a red standing in the shadows of the cavern's maw. Talonstraws held his head high as he stepped into the sunlight, his gaze fixed on the Dragon Queen. Like the drake who defied her so many years ago, Talonstraws met the Aspect's gaze with no fear. "Talon," Laylastraza said, her scales scraping on the ice as she turned. "You're here!" "Sister," Talon said, turning his attention to Laylastraza. "I will invite you in, but your queen must wait outside." Oh, Laylastraza said with a note of hesitation. "But it's so cold." "I will be quite all right," Alexstrasza said gently. Then to Talonstraws she said, "My purpose for coming today is twofold. One, to support Laylastraza and help her realize her dearest wish. And two, to come before you and express my deepest apologies to you." Talonstraws blinked, almost as if confused. "I will offer you no excuses. You've doubtless heard them already," the Dragon Queen said. "So on behalf of the Aspects and the Five Flights, I come before you to apologize for the theft of your egg and subsequent ordering. I swore an oath to never harm a living creature, but I have caused you irreparable harm and despair. I'm sorry, Talonstraws, and I swear to you this day, the Aspects have ceased this practice, now and forevermore." Alexstrasza bowed before the stunned red, closing her eyes and dipping her head in a shallow bow. Bow. Silence rose in the wake of her words, but she embraced it and rose, not expecting to find absolution in this place. "Viranoth said she said you would never apologize," Talonstraws said, stepping forward. He blinked fast, lifting his voice. She said you were so sure you were right." "When you are convinced of your own righteousness," Viranoth whispered in her memory, "no act becomes unconscionable." "If something lives, it can grow and change," Alexstrasza replied. "I should like to think that includes Dragon Queens, too." The Red's lower jaw went slack. He stepped back and sat on the ground as if struggling to come to terms with this new information. "If there is aught you would ask of me, Talonstraws, you may," Alexstrasza said. "I have granted each and every dragon in your cohort a boon." The Red tilted his head, his breath hitching. "I don't suppose you would free Viranoth, would you?" "That I cannot do," Alexstrasza replied, giving him a sad smile. Talonstraw's wings drooped. He seemed to despair for a moment, casting his gaze to the icy pebbles at his feet. Then perhaps you could help Laylastraza and me find her parents, if they still live?" Laylastraza's breath caught in her throat. The young Red looked up at the Dragon Queen, her golden eyes glittering with hope. Alexstrasza dipped her head in a nod. "Of course, I will help you." On the day the flights gathered to seal the vault of the incarnates under stone, Alexstrasza descended into the vault's inner sanctum. The three incarnates entombed in Thaldraszus, Feroc, Viranoth, and Iridikron, each slept inside a great glowing golden orb. Metal rings rotated along the outside and inside of the cells, trapping the incarnates in stasis. Nosdormu stood on the center platform, supervising the bronzes and the Titan Forged who performed the final inspections. Alexstrasza alighted on the platform, joining the bronze aspect as he gazed up at the cells. "Have you come to say one final goodbye, my queen?" Nosdormu asked, turning. Concern rested heavily on his brow. He, like the other aspects, knew how heavily the memories of war haunted Alexstrasza's heart. "Yes," Alexstrasza said, lifting her head to look at Viranoth. "I would like a moment with her before we seal the vault fully." "But of course," Nosdormu said, "my flight will finish the final inspections presently." "Thank you." Alexstrasza turned toward Viranoth's cell and almost just to herself said, "It is strange to think I shall never see her again. I will forever mourn her loss." Nosdormu tilted his head and considered Viranoth, his gaze 1,000 leagues long. Alexstrasza glanced sideways at him. She could see the sands of time shifting in his eyes as if he had a vision of some indefinite future event. After her experience in the Icebound Eye, however, the Dragon Queen knew better than to ask a bronze what they saw in the time ways. Before she could shake Nosdormu from his vision, the bronze aspect blinked. He smiled at her and said, "I will wait in the antechamber outside. Take whatever time you require." "Thank you," Alexstrasza said. The bronzes ferried the Titan Forged from the vault, leaving Alexstrasza alone with the incarnates in the shadows that loomed beyond their cells. Alexstrasza sat before Viranoth's cell, watching her old friend sleep in a shimmer of golden light. The frozen heart did not move, nor did she draw breath. This was goodbye. The last, final goodbye. Nothing had prepared Alexstrasza for this moment. Of all the wounds her heart now bore, Viranoth's loss cut the deepest. Alexstrasza had loved Viranoth with her whole soul. She would treasure the memories they had together. The happy ones, at least. "Viranoth," Alexstrasza said, "my oldest and dearest friend. How I wish things had turned out differently between us. How I wish you were still by my side." She closed her eyes and continued. "But wishing does not change the past. You told me that once as we mourned the loss of your mate. I will bury the story of this war here with you. As aspects, we are united in this decision. I do not want to impose the horrors of this war upon future generations. It will be far better for us to move on, even if it means sealing a part of my heart away forever. To my flights, I will raise my wings in victory. But it does not feel like a victory," she said very softly. "Not without you. I should have been honest with you. I should have trusted you with the truth of things. A queen must sometimes hide her heart, but a friend never should." She bowed her head. "This cannot be how our story ends, can it?"
"Alexstrasza,"
someone said very quietly,
"it is time. We must seal the vault."
Neltharion alighted on the platform behind her. Over the last few weeks, the Earth Warder had made a full recovery from his ordeal at Harrow's Deep. Alexstrasza sensed lingering pains upon Neltharion's mind, but who among them did not suffer in the wake of the war? Who among them did not suffer from nightmares? Feel the aches in their scars? The Earth Warder had never told his fellow aspects how he had managed to defeat Iridikron in the depths of that hateful mountain. Every time Alexstrasza asked him about it, he shook his head. "I will speak about that day in due time," Neltharion would say. "For now, it is best that I bury that memory within the Incarnate himself." "Very well," she said to him, spreading her wings and leaping into the air, hovering parallel with her friend's cell. "Goodbye, dear one," Alexstrasza said, placing one forefoot on the cell. The stone hummed at her touch. She took one last lingering look at Viranoth, etching the frozen heart's features into her memory. Then Alexstrasza turned and followed Neltharion from the inner sanctum, leaving the Incarnates to sleep in the shadows. They paused at the threshold while Nosdormu wove time enchantments around the inner gate, trapping Iridikron and his hatreds inside forevermore. The Vault of the Incarnates would have 3 major protections. Nosdormu's temporal enchantments were to seal the inner gate. Malygos would place arcane wards on the Titan-made outer door, and Neltharion would bury the vault beneath the earth, laying the Incarnates and their painful legacy to rest. As they stepped into the sunlight outside the Vault of the Incarnates, Alexstrasza lifted her gaze to the heavens. The dragons of the 5 flights had gathered around the Vault of the Incarnates, their scales shimmering in the sun. A great cheer went up as she and Neltharion emerged and joined Ysera, Malygos, and Nosdormu on the platform. The cheers rang hollow in Alexstrasza's heart. In her mind, there was nothing to celebrate.
"Shall we get on with it, then?"
Malygos asked, turning back to the vault door.
"I, for one, am ready to put this chapter of our history behind us."
"Yes," Alexstrasza said with a sad smile. "Let us move toward a brighter horizon." And that's it. We've read the book. It's dedicated to Bo, who brought me to Azeroth, and to champions past, present, and future. We still have so many stories to tell one another. Yeah, we sure do, guys. And we're making new stories all the time. We also have an acknowledgement here, in addition, past the dedication. First and foremost, she would like to thank us, the dear reader, for taking this journey with us. One of the greatest joys of my career has been to steward characters the Warcraft community has loved and loathed for so long. Though my name appears on the cover, this book is the product of the hard work of many hearts and minds. To the brilliant, hard-working editorial team at Blizzard and Random House Worlds, thank you. Tom Holer, you were an incredible wingman throughout the development of this book. Thank you for working your bronze magic and keeping this project running on time. Well, mostly on time. I'll always be looking for one more weekend. To Eric Garon, the man who soldiered through that rough first draft with me, The best editors ask the right questions, and so many of yours led to some of the greatest moments in this book. Thank you for your wise guidance, your patience, and your encouragement. Thank you, Chloe Fabroni, for the magic you cast over the prose in the second draft. I had a delightful time reading through your comments, but the one about wine made me laugh out loud. You brought some lovely lines to the book. To the rest of the Blizzard team, Steve Daniser, Terry Gregory, Damian Yarsdorfer, Brian Messina, Byron Parnell, Corey Peterschmidt, Amber Prue-Thibodeau, Corey Reagan, Derek Rosenberg, and everyone else who provided invaluable insights and feedback, thank you. I could not possibly know every hand that touched these drafts, but please know that I saw the indelible mark you left on the work. I'm grateful to you. On my side of the page, I would be remiss if I didn't thank my husband, Bo, who is my constant companion in life and in Azeroth. You cheered me on through every deadline and listened to me work through the troublesome bits aloud. I leapt off a cliff so sure I would fall, but you always believed I would fly. Because of you, I stood beside Queen Alexstrasza. I walked through the shadows of Aberis with Neltharion and mourned with Viranoth. The dragons snatched me from the skies until I grew my own wings and flew. Matt Kirby, you're partially responsible for these shenanigans too. Thank you for reaching out on that fateful evening and asking if I'd ever played a little game called Diablo. This has been an experience I will never forget. To the Duck Room, you know who you are, but particularly Stephen, Jane, Ariel, and Bob, thank you for being such stalwart supporters through this process. I'm lucky to be surrounded by such thoughtful, kind, and forgiving co-workers. Quack. To the real-life Layla Straza, Tyrannus, Rygos, Crystal Straws, Stallion, Talion, Zarastia, and Timea Straws, I'm so grateful our shared virtual worlds brought you into my life. Together we have conquered dragons of all kinds, some real and some made of pixels, but I know how lucky I am to have you at my back. And speaking of lucky, to my beloved Buns, Katoa, Dak, and the rest of our crew, your smiling faces sustain me through countless relentless long days. I treasure our friendships and the communities we've built together. Much love. Finally, to all the champions of Azeroth, thank you for making our world so vibrant and alive. Wherever you travel in the world, may the aspects watch over you. And this was, again, that was Courtney Alameda. This is the first book we've read. This is her only Warcraft book. She also wrote a few others, Seven Deadly Shadows, Pitch Dark, and Shudder. And she's a novelist, comic book writer, and lifelong gamer. After almost 15 years of writing professionally, there are a few mediums, genres, and forms Courtney hasn't had the chance to work in, though the novel remains her favorite. She started playing World of Warcraft in 2015 and has been a denizen of Azeroth ever since. Born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area, she now resides in the northwestern United States with her husband, 1 Welsh Corgi, 2 cats, 3 library rooms, and whatever monsters lurk in the rural darkness around her home. Well, you're doing pretty good if you can have your house and 3 libraries. So you're living in a 4-bedroom house, essentially. It was okay. I don't want to throw shade on her. It was okay. We've read maybe worse, but and I know like some people, I've heard a lot of people give some flack to the main ones like Christy Golden and the other guy we've read a lot from. But I still think, in my opinion, Golden's kind of a cut above the others, and there's a couple, there's a few others that none of them have been terrible. And I'm not a writer, I enjoy, when I was young, I enjoyed writing some things. Actually, and when I was younger, I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area for a long time. So it's that's also a place that's always going to be near and dear to my heart. So cool. It's good. We finished it, and I'm greatly looking forward. I already have our next project queued up. We'll start that in a couple days. But, I wouldn't do any of it if it wasn't for you guys. I don't know that I would have done this project if I couldn't come on here and share all of my experiences with you all, and I appreciate all of you every single day. So thank you guys, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Lore of Warcraft.